everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nani, and today's video is part 2 of 7 tips to start practicing self-love. In part 1, I defined self-love and discussed the following 3 tips: becoming mindful, acting on what you need rather than what you want, and practicing good self-care daily. So, grab your favorite drink and your favorite snack, and let's get into it. Alright, number 4, setting boundaries. Oof, this one. This right here, so important. So important. It is important to set your limits and learning how to say no. I know that's something that is a struggle or has been a struggle for a lot of people, myself included. And this is anything like work, love, any activity, whatever that you feel when someone asks you, hey, do you want to do this, or can you do this, something along those lines. If you do not want to do that, just say no. Just say no. Obviously, respectfully, right? And if it's at work, professionally, try to find a way to professionally say no without endangering you losing your job. And same thing, you're like a friend or whatever. Finding ways to say no that are not detrimental to your relationships, but just being honest, right? And setting those boundaries. No, I'm not going to do that. And that's fine, because if you don't want to do something, you shouldn't force yourself to do it. And you should only do things that if you really want to do it. I know that sometimes that can be difficult to do, but I encourage you to try your best to practice that, to set those boundaries. At the end of the day, when you say yes and you really want to say no, you're the one who's going to face the consequences after that, because you're the one who's not going to feel so good about yourself, because you're like, oh, wow, I just did this and I didn't really want to do it. And you're also not loving yourself because you're choosing whoever's asking you to do whatever their wants over your needs. Just because someone asks you, they're not entitled to a yes. I'll say it again. Just because someone asks you, they're not entitled to a yes. It can be seen as selfish, but at the end of the day, you're taking care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of you? Because is the person going to take care of you? No, they're the ones asking you for something or asking you to do something. So if you go on with what they want, they're going to be fine, right? They're going to be fine. And what are you going to feel? You're not going to feel that great. Choose you. Choose you. Just choose you. All right, número 5. Protect yourself. So this really goes back into like how we were just talking to setting boundaries. That's part of protecting yourself, right? Protecting your energy, your space, your well-being. And another way you protect yourself is making sure you have the right people in your life. And what the right people are going to look like are people who support you in your successes and your achievements, people who are there in the good and the bad times, people who, if you're going through a rough time and you need someone to talk to, they're there for you. And with these people, things just flow. They're not forced, they're not hard, they're not filled with a bunch of drama and unnecessary things. It just works, right? And having these people in your life is very important because they are your support system, right? They're the ones who help lift you up when you're down and help push you when you're in times where maybe you want to give up on something. So these are the people to keep in your life. Looking at how you feel when you spend time with them and how you feel after. Making these observations, you can see, oh wow, I feel good things when we're together. And even when we're not together, after we just spend time together, I'm still feeling those good things. Those are the type of people to have in your life, because those are the type of people who will help you pour into yourself in the times where you're not able to because you're down. And they help bring you back up. A way to assess if someone is right for your life or not is paying attention to how you feel about them. And this is also like you're not in conflict, like everything is normal. If you spend time with someone and you're feeling off, right, or some kind of negative emotion, or you're not really sure, but something kind of feels off, and then while you're hanging out, and then after you hang out, you feel the same, or if not, maybe even worse, that is a sign that maybe that person should not be in your life. And look into that more and see if that relationship, friendship, whatever it is, if it's serving you. If it's serving you in the sense that, are they all those things I said earlier? Are they doing all that? Or are they the opposite? All right, number 6, forgiving yourself. This is another one. Whew. We as humans, we tend to be very hard on ourselves, and when we make mistakes, and tend to beat ourselves up because of said mistake. The reason why this is so important for loving yourself is because when you don't forgive yourself, you carry that mistake or error, however you want to call it, you carry that until you forgive yourself. And if you don't forgive yourself, you'll just carry it and it'll just be there. And carrying that, maybe shame, maybe guilt, and continuously beating yourself up over that mistake over and over and over and over again, it's not good for you and your mental health. It is not good at all. Trying to remind ourselves that we are human. Making mistakes is literally a part of the human experience. We cannot avoid making mistakes. We will always be making mistakes our whole lives. Yes, some mistakes are worse than others, right? And have a higher or lesser impact than others. Of course, some mistakes are easier to forgive than others. When it comes to forgiving myself, what works for me is acknowledging that you made a mistake, right? Because if you don't think you made a mistake, then you're not being affected by this. But okay, you've acknowledged you made a mistake. Now that you've acknowledged it, let yourself feel whatever it is. And try not to put yourself down or beat yourself up over it, but just, feel all those feelings that come with it. But don't stay in this for too long. Do not stay in that for too long. Set up like a time limit for yourself that works for you. All right, now we've felt all these emotions. Now that we've felt all of this, what do we need to do to make this better? Do you have to apologize to someone? Is there a reparative action you need to do? Whatever it is, do it. Figure that out and go ahead and do it. And once you do it, if you feel better, then it can help you start to forgive yourself. But it's also figuring out what action you need to take to help you forgive yourself. And once you do that, you can let that go. It's also a lesson. So now you have, boom, a new lesson. And now that you know it, going forward, you know you're not going to do the same thing. And something else that I think could be helpful when you're being really down on yourself and maybe not saying the most nicest things because you made a mistake is, number one, probably not the first time someone has made the mistake that you made, and it won't be the last. There's also other people in the world who have made those mistakes. And I even might be one of them. So you're not alone in making mistakes. We all do it. It's a part of life. We can learn from them and just take it one step at a time and try to forgive ourselves so that we can move on and continue on. All right, the last tip is living intentionally. Living a life that you truly, genuinely want to live. And I add the truly and genuinely because I feel that in the society that we live in, we have societal expectations of what we should be doing with our lives, depending on the age that we're at. On top of that, there are our own cultural expectations of what we need to be doing, depending on what age we are at. And having both of those influences on our lives, people tend to live lives that they think they want to live, but deep down, they don't actually want to live. Because there are people who they fit with those things, right? Society says at this age you do X, Y, Z. I'm doing X, Y, Z, and C, and I feel great. But on the flip side, there are people who are doing X, Y, and Z and feel not so great, and they're trying to figure out why. They're like, I'm doing what I was supposed to do. I followed the path. I followed all these steps, and yet I don't feel good. And if you're feeling like that, it's because you're not living a life that you truly, genuinely want to live. And maybe it's time to make some changes so that you don't feel like that anymore. In order to do this, I think it's important to do some inner reflection and ask yourself, is this a life I really want to live? Is this really it? Is this a life I want to continue to live? Is this how I see myself for the next 10 years? Asking yourself those questions, even if it is a life that you're content with it, maybe you need something different, right? All right, I've been living like this for X amount of years or for however long. Okay, you know what? I need something new. I need something different. I need a change. That's good too. We as people, we are evolving, and as we evolve, our wants and needs, our goals, those change. Whatever your situation is, reflecting on your life and you feel either, yeah, this is not the life I actually want to live, or you know what, I'm doing really great right now, but I do want something different. I need a change. I'm kind of tired of this. If you feel like that, then make a change. The change depends on you, on what goals you want, what kind of life do you want, and planning that, actually planning and putting in the work. Because if you want to change your life, unless you take any action, you're gonna stay the same. You'll blink, oh, 10 years, wow. So you have to be very intentional. You have to plan, you have to set goals, and most importantly, take action. So you can do all the planning you want, all the strategizing, but if you take no action, again, 10 years go by and you're going to be in the same place. So it's really pushing yourself, being intentional, and making those actions. Because you are your own main character of your own life. And you can't let anyone else take that wheel away from you and tell you, oh, this is the life you need to live, because you're not going to be happy. You need to be that one in charge, in the wheel, boom, 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 and drive yourself / take yourself wherever it is that you want to go. Maybe the destination you want, right, the goal, you get there, you don't like it. That's also okay. You tried it, didn't work. Okay, what's next? Let's explore this and let's go. Those are the 7 tips. I got these 7 tips from an article from Psychology Today. It's going to be in the description box below, so you can click on it if you want to read it entirely with more details on different things. Number 1, these 7 tips are things that I either in my self-love journey I've been working on or want to work on. These are all very important. In the end, they help us take care of ourselves, be true to ourselves, and to lead a life that we genuinely want to live. Again, it's all pouring into these different areas, right? Pouring into it. And with these tips, you don't have to do them in any particular order. You can do it in whatever order you want. You can do 1, you can do 2, you can do totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to go about this. It's just figuring out what works for you, right? And also figuring out where you're at in your self-love journey. Are you about to start? Are you are you further along? It's just looking into that and seeing that. I encourage you to try 1 or more of these tips if you want to, and see how it goes for you. Alright, so that's it for part 2 of 7 tips to start practicing self-love. If you like this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe and bell button to be notified when I upload my next video. Next week's upload will be episode 3 of the Self-Love Diaries, where we will explore a self-love check-in. Check out my Instagram for live updates, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.